Welcome, new and returning listeners, to today's episode of the Black Business Roundtable. I am your host, Doug Blacksher, broadcasting to you live from the city of Diversity, Oakland, California. Every 4 p.m. Thursday Pacific Standard Time and 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and we hope you tune in. Audience, today we're going to have a powerful show. Today's guest is going to include a member of the Doni Glover podcast family, host Michael Haynie of 60 Minutes in Black USA, a show worth your time to catch on Sunday. Women of power and show contributor since our inception, Dr. Ashley Coleman, Doctor of Psychology. We hope to have back with us soon in Therapeutic Thursday. And let me briefly sidebar on that. Our mental health is just as important as our physical health. So remember that when you're out there working out, your mental health is just as important as your physical health. We want to continue her role on, especially during Mental Health Month 2024, as mental health reminder for our audience. Today, here are a few important resources. Telephone number to call. If you're feeling despair, feeling suicidal, if you're feeling overwhelmed, anxiety, depression, please call 988 is the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can chat and text. We have got to understand, Black people have had 400 years of mental abuse in this country. Women have been raped. Men have been killed, body parts severed. Job opportunities that we rarely get over white Americans and Asian American, Hispanic American. So that can be mentally destroying. Women, please, looking for therapy, please check therapyforblackgirls.com. Once again, that's therapyforblackgirls.com. And men, don't be ashamed, Black men. Let me tell you something. I've seen the therapist, and I've been injured recently and have been under a lot of mental and anxiety problems that causes me extreme stress. So men looking for a therapist, therapyforblackmen.org. And that's, once again, therapyforblackmen.org. Don't be ashamed, because you could be dead. Find out what is worth celebrating this month, courtesy of nationaldaycalendar.com. A calendar note from Equal Justice Initiative, EJI. Click, link, and learn about our daily history by viewing their calendar. And is as listed below for your mental health therapy. And please write that number down, pull the show up later, share with others what help is out there for them if they are having mental anxiety, depression, suicide, because Black people, we need help more than any other group of people. Give us your thumbs up and thumbs down, local, nationally, and internationally. Hashtag thumbs up, hashtag thumbs down. Fans of this segment, send me your thumbs up and thumbs down the day before our show, and they may be featured on the show contact me on social media, Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn. Sharing is caring. Remember, sharing is caring. Now, this week's this week thumbs up goes to Michael Cohen, the captain of the Bullshit's ex-lawyer, for standing up against this tyrant, against this outrageous man who continuously tried to bully people, tried to bully the judge, the jury, and the witnesses. And he wants to be our president again. That's why we need to get out there and vote, vote, vote. The orange man cannot get back in that office. And it is critical. It is critical that we get out and vote, vote, vote. Thumbs down goes to gas prices in California among the highest in the nation. Let me be clear here. We have had some of the most outrageous gas prices in the country right here in California. And it is critical that we understand that if we do not address what is going on here in California and in other states that we're being pimped. Yes, we're being pimped by the gas manufacturers. And unless we stand up together, we are going to continuously be pimped and have to pay these high prices. I drove by the gas station with a friend the other day, $5.59. Can you believe that? $5.59. So if you have, I have a truck. If you have a truck that has a 30-gallon tank, 5 times 35, wow. That's almost $200. And you only, and in the big trucks, you're not getting that gas mileage that smaller cars and EVs are getting out there. So companies out there who are pimping our people and the rest of the country, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. Shame, shame, shame. I talked to a relative down in the southern states, Arkansas, that's where my family is originally from, and their gas is $3.50. How is it that California, there's a $2 difference per gallon of gas in this country? And let's be clear here. We have got to start holding our politicians accountable to address these gas manufacturers, fuel manufacturers, about why the certain states, and I'm sure they're because of tax issues and others, but a $2 per gallon of gas difference, that's outrageous. And the more importantly, we have got to start working together to get in politicians who don't get paid while we get played. Today, I probably wear my City of Oakland lapel. Let me straighten it out up right there. There it is. I earned this as I'm serving my second term on the Community Policing Advisory Board. And I was appointed by Rebecca Kaplan, Vice Mayor of California. One of the things that we have to understand here is that we have to get out there and participate in the process for we have to get involved in local city politics, get on committees that have given us the opportunity to participate in what goes on in our city. As many of you know, I serve as a member on the Community Policing Advisory Board, serving my second term. I also serve on the California Democratic Party as a delegate. I'm not going to be able to go this year because of a work-related injury that has been really had me down on my back and not having severe leg and back pain. So I won't be able to make the flight down to LA. I also serve on the Alameda County Democratic Central Committee as a member, and also on the executive board of the Oakland East Bay Democratic Club, chair of labor and economic development. So as you see, I make sure that my voice, our voices are heard. And today, our guest is from Baltimore. He has a show out there called 60 Minutes. 60 Minutes in Black USA. 60 Minutes. And I had an opportunity to be a guest on his show. We had powerful conversations on the upcoming elections. We also had a gentleman who is voting for the Kennedy fella. And the Kennedy fella is the one who said he had worms eating out his brain. And also he said that he would be different than the other candidates running. So I have issues with all three candidates, specifically Trump. Trump will destroy this country. And those of you, specifically Black people out there who choose to vote for him, I think you're making a terrible mistake. I think you need to do a little more research on what he plans to do. When we had a Black man in office by the name of President Barack Obama, he wore a suit that white people didn't like, and they wanted to throw him out of office. This past person who was on, he had what was that, a Captain Bullshit. He's robbed people. He stole from people, raped women, paid strippers off. For you church-going folks who act like you are very Christian, for you to support this man, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. Shame, shame, shame. So while we wait for our guest to come on, he's having a few issues coming on, but he should be on shortly. There are certain things that he and I, and we're going to be working with the Doni Glover host over the next few months, years, to address several issues. First one, Black people spend $1.5 trillion in this country every year, and we get nothing out of it. And I'm talking about buying cars from car manufacturers. They treat our young people who work there like slaves. And I know that for a fact, firsthand, for a fact. We need to stop buying their cars. Second, politics. Politicians beg us to vote for them every 2 to 4 years. They come in our neighborhood and make all these promises. As soon as they get elected, we don't see them. They don't show up. They don't represent themselves here. And then another 2 to 4 years, the cycle repeats. This election, let me be clear here. There are certain politicians who I supported, who I'm going to do my best to make sure are not elected again. And that's a promise. Somebody says here, what is going on with Pamela Price? This goes to the heart of Black people in America. We have women out here, Black women, who are being brutalized by rich white billionaires. Pamela Price is being recalled, and the money that is put on the recall effort does not, many of those dollars does not even come from the citizens in the county of Alameda. They come from outside of the state, and outside of the county. So to that end, we have got to start standing up and making sure that we get out there and support the Black women who put their lives on the line. I know Pamela Price walks around with security. I know there's several other politicians in the state of California, specifically Mayor Bass down there in LA. Her house was broken into. So you don't hear that from white women. I have heard of very few incidents like that from white women in America who are elected officials. There may have overlooked, but I'm very concerned that we are not supporting our elected Black women officials. And I also thank you for putting these questions up, and feel free in the chat, ask questions about what's going on. And I see it says, what about Mayor Shang and recall? After 9 months of trying to get in touch with Mayor Shang Tao, we finally locked down a date next week. I'll be meeting with the mayor of Oakland, and I can assure you it's going to be a very powerful meeting, because there are a lot of people who are concerned, not just in East Oakland. I feel that something is going on here that precludes Black people in the city. I'm concerned that the mayor, who I supported, yes, I endorsed, I supported, and what I'm talking to you about here on this podcast today, I will be getting back to you next Thursday and letting you know how that meeting goes, because I support politicians who support Black people. And I'm going to stop there, because Oakland homeless rate has gone up. And as we all know, 70% of homeless population here in the city of Oakland are Black people. And over 50% of that number are elderly people. And that's shameful. Shame, 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 Oakland. What are you doing about it? What are you doing about Black businesses? What are you doing about safety in the flatlands of Oakland? There's a host of questions that I will be addressing with the mayor next week, and I will be sharing about that meeting to this audience. Billion-dollar businesses have our people in slave work. Let me be clear here. I have had the opportunity to work for many of these billionaire companies, and they treat our young people like shit. Yes. They don't promote them. They work them harder than their counterparts, white, Hispanic, and Asian. They have a propensity of talking down to them, and our people buy their products. We have got to start buying. We have got to stop buying from companies like Amazon. We have got to stop buying from companies like Walmart. We have got to stop buying from those businesses that have demonstrated that they want our money, but they don't want to give us respect. They don't want to treat us right. They could not be the billionaire that they are if we don't buy their product. Because once again, Black people spend more money in this country than any other group of people. Racial hate crimes against Black people in this country has gone up exponentially. We need to start, once again, holding our politicians accountable for protecting Black people in this country. We should not have to continue to be dealing with racism after being here for 400 years. 400 years. We have been here in this country, and to date, we are discriminated against. We can't live in certain neighborhoods. Yes, certain neighborhoods we can't live in this country. White people, your silence is a consent that you agree with this. Once again, white people who say, oh, I'm not racist. Well, if you don't speak out against racism, then that means you consent. That's your consent that it's okay with you. So don't start telling me about you're not racist if you don't fight against racism. If you don't see something that's racist and address it. Because, I think I see our guest down there. He's coming on board. It's going to be powerful today. All right. Oh my God, is that Mr. Doni Glover?
What's going on, Douglas?
Oh my God, wait a minute, hold on, let me straighten my tie up. We got the main man on the show.
You need to straighten your tie up, man. You got your guests all. You got things all. What are you doing, Douglas?
Well, let me just tell you this, Mr. Doni Glover. Audience, this is Mr. Doni Glover, nominated Emmy Award winning man, and we want to say
nominated.
Emmy nominated. I said it incorrectly. Emmy nominated. Let me say this, audience. This man is a mastermind behind Be More News, behind BlackUSA.news. He has written 2 books, and it is my pleasure, my honor, to introduce Mr. Doni Glover. Mr. Doni Glover, I want to turn the stage over to you for a few minutes and I'll allow you to share your vision. And I've been on Michael Haynie's show about a week ago, and what we're talking about doing, we want to increase our audience by sharing each of our podcast hosts on each show, so we can build up Oakland's audience in the East, and we can build up we can build up East Coast audience with the West. Can you tell us, our audience, a little bit about the great things that you're doing out there on the East Coast? Thank you.
Well, first of all, Doug, we appreciate you and our Oakland family. I have yet to visit Oakland, but I so love the work that you do, you and the team. Big ups to Kim. We have been doing news and media on the internet via bemorenews.com since 2002. We've also been doing this live streaming since December 2020. And the real pleasure is meeting not just the Doug Blacksher, but Kim. What's the doctor's name? Because I haven't seen her in a minute. Come on, Doug. Dr. Ashley. Dr. Ashley, much love to Dr. Ashley. Oh my God, her therapy sessions are just wonderful. But also to Kathy Adams of the Oakland African American Chamber of Commerce. Let me tell you, Oakland, you have it going on. I'm here in Baltimore, and special thank you to these people down the bottom who help keep this network going. But Oakland, California, we are so proud to be partners from the city of Baltimore over there to Oakland. We're so proud of you. And so let's get me on out of the way. Are you with me, Mike Haynie?
Hey, good evening, Donnie. Donnie, wow, it's like a reunion here, man. Good to see you, Donnie.
It is a reunion. This guy's. Are you driving? He's not driving the vehicle. Oh, there he is. Are you driving, Doug? Do you know where you're going? I'll leave it to you.
I'm right. I'm right here in the studio, and I'm glad that our audience has an opportunity to see. Mike, let me just tell you that. Thank you for the opportunity for having me on your show. My producer has come up with a great idea, similar to what you and I talked about. We need to unite coast to coast and the mid-states, our audience together, because we all have the same message, but we're not combining it. We're not working together. So to that end, I want to turn it over to Mr. Michael Haynie, who has a show that is remarkable. He brings some of the most intelligent, articulate Black people in America. And 2 things before I take off for a few minutes and let you take over. 2 things. First off, we have got to hold these billion-dollar companies accountable because we spend $1.5 trillion on their products, goods, and services, whether it be vehicle, etc. Second, we have got to start holding these politicians accountable because they're getting paid while we get played. To that end, take it over, Mr. Haynie.
Hey, well, listen, don't go too far, man, because I don't want your audience to feel as though, I'm taking over your show. But good evening, West Coast. Good evening, California. Good evening, Oakland. Good evening, anywhere that has an opportunity to see the Black Business Roundtable. Doug Blacksher has long been a mentor of mine since I entered the media arena several years ago for the purposes of educating our people, giving our people a opportunity to hear our voice and perspective on issues globally, nationally, locally, so that we can compare notes. And that's what 60 Minutes in Black America does. As Doug mentioned, he was on our show this past Sunday as we talked about global politics, we talked about global economy, finance, things that were related to Gaza, because many of us don't necessarily look at world politics with the connotation or articulation of how does it affect us in Oakland or Birmingham, Alabama, or Baltimore, Maryland, where I'm at. But it does affect us, like the war in Gaza and what's happening with the Palestinian people and the protests around around the country, even out there in California or on the East Coast of Johns Hopkins in Baltimore or up at UMass in Boston with Black people that are led. And did you hear about Claudette Gay, the president of Harvard University, the first Black Harvard University president that was ushered out as a result of the protest that happened on her campus several months ago? And lo and behold, here we go, right? Black woman, first Black woman. Did they want her there anyway? I don't know, but I know now the entire college or university across the country are in an uproar about the war in Gaza and what Netanyahu. Let's be clear that Netanyahu and Joe Biden, because blood is on America's hand as it relates to the war in Gaza. Did you know that the first three people killed in that war in the Middle East, where the next world war is going to be conducted, the first three people killed in that war were Black Americans? And you think I don't care? You think that you shouldn't care? You think that these college campuses don't care? Now, I don't go along with the anti-Semitic views that are being portrayed out there because I don't hate Jews. Matter of fact, some of my best friends and neighbors, haven't we heard that before? Some of my best friends are Jewish people, and they always have been locked arm in arm with Black people, particularly during the course of our civil rights movement. However, I don't want to I want to make sure that we understand that that war that's happening in the Middle East and these protests out in California, at Berkeley and elsewhere, and Harvard and Detroit University and elsewhere, they do have a direct effect on us, particularly after you saw the first three Americans killed in that war were Blacks from Georgia, two women and a man. So if you've got young kids, I've got 10 grandsons, 3 sons. You think I want them fighting in that war? That I don't care what Joe Biden and Netanyahu are doing? Netanyahu, for the purposes of keeping out of jail, killed over 40,000 people in less than 6 months. So these are the type of issues that we talk about. This is what Black media is about. In addition to what I heard you talk about, the political climate and environment out there and why we don't vote, particularly our young people, why our young people don't embrace the civil rights movement that got them where they were. What I remember about Oakland, California is that where Bobby Seale and the Black Panthers started the movement to ensure that we got our fair share. And where are we at 60 years later, as Malcolm X said? Are we still chumps to the fight for equality in America? Are we still chumps being bought by white politicians as Doug said, and I got a classic example here in Maryland of that happening. So, Doug, let me shut up now, man. Let you have your show back, man. Thank you very much for giving me a few minutes to give them a sense of what we're doing on the East Coast.
No, you're gonna get more. You're gonna get more than a few minutes. The reason why I wanted just you on today, audience, this man is a powerful, intelligent, articulate Black man. I'd like for him to share a little of his background, where he started school, he graduated from, and the work that he has done in Baltimore. He's traveled as far as to Africa, the motherland. He fights out in Baltimore doing the same thing I do here in Oakland, California, Alameda County, in the state of California. And one of the reasons why I want you, Mike Haynie, to share with our audience what you do on the East Coast, because it's the same thing we do on the West Coast, but we need to start getting results. We need to start holding politicians accountable. We need to start encouraging young people to vote, because I'm hearing out of 10 people, young people, 6 of them say they don't even vote and they don't want to vote because they don't believe in it. Second, we have got to start buying black. If we took 1/3 of $1.5 trillion that is spent from the Black community in this country and Black businesses, we can have our own country. Go ahead, Mr. I get excited.
Hey, don't get me started. I'll talk about me a little bit, but don't get me started as we talk about Joe Biden was with the NAACP today, Mr. Blacksher. You know what he was with the NAACP today for?
What?
Celebrating the 70th year of Brown versus Board, Topeka Education, the Thurgood Marshall case that said that discrimination in these countries was unlawful. And that was the beginning of the desecration and the downward fall of the Black economy and Black neighborhoods was Brown versus Board, where we thought that because of the segregation, it would be to our benefit, but it was actually to our demise. Because what happened? All of a sudden, we are able to buy in white neighborhoods, and white neighborhoods were able to come with their special pricing into Black neighborhoods, and they desecrated Black businesses as a result of that. Black education systems, we had to educate our own. And so we raised tens of thousands across this country, Black educators, because we couldn't go anywhere. And then Brown versus Board, with its unintended consequences of fairness and equality, right, ended that. Less HBCUs now than it was then because we couldn't go anywhere. The education level now less than it was in the 40s and 50s as a result of a lack of focus and care and concern. Baltimore City, a city of over 70% African Americans, and the educators in the public school are over 80% white women teaching. Not that they don't care, not that they're not concerned, but it's different than it was back then. But as I mentioned earlier, Joe Biden is celebrating the 70th year anniversary of Brown versus Board of Education, something that we need to take a look at and understand the consequences of certain decisions. Everywhere you go around this world, things are segregated, and equality is what it is. And as Doug said, why aren't we buying more Black? Why don't we understand more about Black education? Why aren't our athletes and shades of Deion Sanders, man? I thought Deion Sanders was a great guy, man, until he sold out Jackson State and went to the big money with the Power 5 conferences, right? Because that's what we do. Where Jackson State was finally getting the facilities and getting the money and the TV play that Black. Okay, so here we go. Here we go.
Deion Sanders is not Jesus. He did his job. You want to go coach? You go coach. He put more money on Jackson, Mississippi than anybody.
Here we go. See, so you can't buy me. You can't buy me. If I'm going somewhere, Deion, you can't buy me.
He's
Deion
one
Sanders was
person.
bought. Deion Sanders was
He
bought
did
by
his
Power
part.
Five conferences. No, he didn't do his
He
thing.
did his part, man.
He
Hey,
did his
Pharaoh,
thing
don't bite
without.
him. Don't bite him,
It,
Pharaoh.
it,
He
no,
did his
don't bite
part,
you.
man. Calm
Hey,
down,
listen,
I
Jeremy.
love
this
this.
is the trick. This is the trick that we are subject to all the time. Hey, listen, man,
He
hear
did his
me out.
part, man.
Hear me out, because
That
see,
man got to eat.
just like Fox does to you, Fox 4, they give you a sound bite. You bite
Fox
the
ain't do nothing to
sound,
me.
you
We got
don't
Black
hear the
USA.
complete story.
We don't need
Deion
Fox.
Sanders, perpetrator of fraud, went down to Jackson State, recruited top black athletes to go to Jackson State to give Jackson State a foundation as a HBCU of a national platform that not only helps the athletes, it helps the academic kids there as well. And then what did he do once he established his aura and his presence? He went to Colorado, a white power 5 conference,
He
right?
didn't go there,
Leaving
man. He did
Jackson
his public
State.
service. Listen, there are
Public
plenty other
service.
athletes who can step
How
up
do
to
you
the plate
define public
and they can
service?
do their part. You're not
Yeah,
expecting
okay.
that one
He did
man
not
to
complete the
save
mission.
all of Black
He did not
America.
complete
He
the
led
mission.
the way. He opened the door as phenomenal as he has always done. Now let some other people step up
This
to
is
the plate.
exactly why our neighborhoods are desecrated and slum
No, man,
ridden
you're
and
putting
vacant, because
unrealistic
once we,
expectations
well,
on
you
one
know what?
person.
I thought
He
I
did
was
his
right to
part.
say something. Well, it's
Well,
okay, because
hold on,
we're
gentlemen.
gonna pray.
Hold
We're
on.
gonna pray for you too. We're gonna pray for you too.
He did his part. Let other
This,
people step
this
up.
is
Hey,
You got
healthy.
listen,
other mega athletes
This is
with more money
I
than
bless
him.
you. See, this is the type
Man.
of guy.
Oh
If
my
if
God.
Donald Trump offered
We talking
Donnie
about Donald
Glover,
Trump. We talking
if
about
Donald
Dion.
Trump offered Donnie Glover $10 million to appear on your network, you take it in a heartbeat, because you would
I would be
sell
a
out
fool
for the
if I
dollar.
didn't take
You
it.
would sell
And
out.
you would
You would
kick me
sell out just
in
like
my
Deion
butt if
Sanders
I
did.
didn't take that
Deion
money. I
Sanders
will,
sold
hey,
out
Wait a
black
minute.
people.
Hold on. Audience,
Deion
hold on,
Sanders sold out black people. You would sell out black people too.
sell him out. Hey,
Donnie,
Yeah,
hold up.
you
I
would
didn't
sell
say nothing about selling
us
out
out.
hold on.
because
Gentlemen, hold on.
because
Take a deep
we
breath.
gotta be. Hey, listen. We gotta stop tearing down each other. That man did his part. He's one person.
I
There are
wasn't tearing
plenty of
him down.
other athletes who have come through the NBA, the NFL,
Nah,
and let
nah.
everybody have.
No,
Who gives you the
no.
right
This
to
is
tell
healthy
somebody else what they need to do?
The fact that they say
Okay.
I'm an American and I can speak my own mind,
Black
just like Donald
America.
Trump,
Why
Black
don't
my
you
America.
First
do it?
This is a healthy
Why
allows
conversation.
me
don't
to
you
say
do
whatever
it?
I want to say, just like you can say it. But you can't shut me down from my
I'm not
opinion
trying to
of
shut
what
you
I think
down, but I'm
about
saying don't
Dion
make
We're not shutting
and what he did
anyone down.
as a
This is
leader of
healthy.
black people.
This is healthy conversation, because this is
Oh, it's
how
great. It is
Black
great.
America. This is how
But let's
Black
get
America
real.
get divided. We have to hear each other and agree to disagree. But like Malcolm X said, when we have a fight, we go in the closet and we light it up. But when we come out of the closet, we come together, because white America, they want to see us clashing out in public and say, look at them Negroes. They can't even work together. So, audience, this is healthy
we are
conversation.
supposed to have different
We are
opinions,
in the closet
and
having a
white people
conversation.
do not agree on
We are one
everything.
group.
We're not putting any race. Ain't nobody smarter, whatever. This is about coming to an understanding that everybody has a part to play, whether you're
I
rich
like to
or not rich.
quantify
Everybody
things.
brings
I
gifts and
like
talents.
if you give me like 2 minutes, because I know this is your show, right? Let me
Oh no,
quantify
No,
I just
things.
go ahead,
respect you
please.
because you were talking
Let,
slick.
let me quantify. Let me quantify things. I got him out of here. I knew what to say to push that button. Okay, let's quantify. Okay, here he comes back. Right there, he goes again. And I love Donnie, and you all have to know I love Donnie, because this is healthy conversation, and I expect, as Doug expects and Donnie expects, for you to go out to do your own homework, your own investigation, where we light the fire. We like to fire to look at a Deion Sanders, from my opinion, which is one, Ford versus Brown, another, to what Doug said initially, that we have to begin to look at supporting our own communities. That was what the impetus of this conversation was, us supporting our own communities. Black Wall Street was burnt down in Tulsa, Oklahoma, as many weren't burnt physically down, but spiritually and fictitiously burnt down by some of the enacted laws that don't always work in our behalf. And we have to understand what it looks like when they perpetrate a fraud of help. And it isn't really help that they're giving us, it's just further alienating us from what it is that is rightfully ours, which is our own economy. And all I made mention of in terms of Dion is that Jackson State was thriving. And I said, oh my God, this brother is doing it right, man. He's great. Maybe black athletes would point to the HBCUs. Maybe the NFL would have to come on campuses of HBCUs. Maybe HBCUs will get uplifted with the tens of millions of dollars annually that black athletes are exploited by these Power Five companies, right? And now the HBCUs will be uplifted because our black athletes see the ability to have quality athletic environments at HBCUs. That's all I was saying. But then he up and he ran to Colorado. I'm like, where are you going? Where are you going?
Go ahead.
We get what we negotiate. We get what we negotiate. And so therefore, on that note, may those who are in a position, may they have the right ask. A lot of times, Mike, as you well know, it's one thing to be at the table. It's another thing to direct the flow at the table. And so we have to do a better job having an ask and negotiating what we want. We get what we negotiate.
We were on the cusp of owning the table and controlling the game. We were on the cusp of that because guess what was happening down at Florida A&M and some of the other HBCUs, that all of a sudden people looked up and said, wow, Dion could do this at Jackson State, then maybe he could do it at some of the HBCUs.
That's the wrong thinking. Maybe we can help. I'm sorry.
Let me just say this, gentlemen. There's an organization called the Oakland African American Sports and Entertainment Group. Ray Bobbitt, who is a very close friend of mine and has been on the show numerous times, he has got together with a bank that has done over $1 trillion worth of business and asset. He's got with some of the top people in the country, and we're fighting to have the first black sports-owned team here in the nation, NFL and women's owned. So I agree with Donnie where he says we got to be at the table and not on the menu. And I agree with you, Mike, that we can't get rich and run to the white folks' neighborhood and spend all our money. But these are the conversations that we must have. And I would like, Donnie, since you're on the show, I would like to have more of your podcast hosts on this show so we can debate these critical issues that play an important part in the black community.
I want to encourage us all to do a part. And Dion, right, he played a part. I mean, do you know that man? I mean, he is dealing with some health challenges. Isn't his ankle or leg messed up, Mike?
He lost a toe.
Okay, so he's done his part. Let some other people, man, there are tons of athletes. You see them all on television. Everybody wants to be a talking head. Tell them get out there on the gridiron, get out there on the basketball court and mentor and coach these young men.
Donnie,
and the young women.
Donnie, Dion is rich. Dion is rich. Sometimes you stand for something. No, why don't you hear me out? I listen to you. Right? Let's quantify it with the money. Let's talk about how much Jackson State benefited from the uplift in appearance as a model for HBCUs. Because I hear you all the time talk about HBCUs. And this conversation we're having, Donnie, is for our viewers, for our listeners, so they can go out and they can make their own intelligent decision based on what they think. My thoughts are, had Dion, who's already rich, because when he left Jackson, he didn't only leave himself, he took 40 black athletes with him, right, to go to Colorado. And to your point, someone had a better deal, but finally, it seemed as though, because I always wondered with our HBCUs when we couldn't go there when it was racism, and Bear Bryant didn't want a nigger on his field at all. It was okay. Then you get Alabama now with half their team black, and it's okay because they realized the hundreds of millions of dollars of value. They had to go to a Maryland State. They had to go to a HBCU or Florida A&M in order to be recognized.
Themselves in the butt for being so ignorant. Don't you think they're looking at themselves and seeing how dumb?
Who's they?
The racists who stop black people from playing. Don't you think they realize how foolish, how arrogant, how stupid they have been, their actions, and especially now that they have great grandchildren
I'm saying,
mixed race,
it was okay. Everywhere in this world, things are segregated. You go to the Middle East, it's segregated. You go to the continent of Africa, it's segregated. We talked about Brown versus Board of Education. Today is the 70th anniversary of that. Joe Biden said, I'm going to acknowledge Brown versus Board. And not necessarily for what it was initially intended to be, but the unintended consequences, the tens of thousands of black educators that lost their job when it was desegregated because whites did not want black educators in their neighborhoods teaching their kids.
Can we unpack that a little bit? Can we unpack that a little bit?
Let's unpack it.
I want to give credit to Kevin Lewis, to Erica Lowe, to Roderica Applewhite. These are three African Americans who have worked since 2010 with Kevin Lewis, 2008 actually, Obama, to make sure that black media, like Black USA, like Be More News, and thank you for your support, your financial support, Mr. Haynie. But these three, Kevin Lewis, Roderica, Erica Lowe, have made sure that we have had access. And that doesn't happen too often. That did not happen under Trump for us. We had zero access, but we get a lot of access now, and we're very grateful for it. And we can't wait for Doug Blacksher to come over this way because we're going to take him right on over to the White House himself. As a matter of fact, if you're in Atlanta on Sunday, Mike, we could have you cover the Morehouse graduation because President Biden will be there. And let me say this. What's so beautiful is that with Kevin Lewis, Roderica Applewhite, and Erica Lowe at the White House, making sure that black media has access, that we can get in and get our stories. That only helps this man get reelected. At least he's paying attention.
Helps who get reelected? Helps who get reelected?
Helps Biden.
Donnie and Mike, let me just say
get reelected.
Okay, Donnie and Mike, let me say
the Biden White House is giving you access. Yes, it helps his reelection chances. Of course it does. They recognize black media. That's all I'm saying, Doug. The White House recognizes the need for black media. Just like this show all the way from Oakland. Where are you at, Mike? Florida, Baltimore. You know, black media.
I'm in Baltimore. Okay, I'm in Baltimore.
My producer just sent me a text. We want to finish up on time because this has been a powerful show today. We want to keep it under an hour, so we're gonna break bread.
Are they putting us out of here, Mike? Hey, you know, I'd have been put out of better places. Okay,
but I think it's time to go.
What I want to say is this: these are the types of conversations that our people need to hear. Healthy, in the closet conversation. Then we come together because we are not together nationally. We're not together in the state. We're not together in this county.
Yes, we are, man. Did you see what happened down there? Where was that place down south? And that man threw that hat up in the air. You see him throw the hat up in the air, and the Batman signal came out. Black people stand together. I don't know what you saw. Black people in the chair. Did you see the chair?
Well,
I got an East Coast question. I got an East Coast question for Doug. Doug, what happened to Barbara Lee, man? What y'all do to Barbara Lee out there? Isn't she from Oakland?
She didn't have the money, man. She didn't have the money.
How did Adam Schiff? What are you guys doing out there, man, with Barbara Lee? She wasn't good enough.
Well, let me say this, Mike. Let me say this.
I hear the excuse.
We got too many gatekeepers out here. We got too many old guys, old people who are not being wise counsel and mentoring the young people. We got too many old people out here. And that's right. We got too many old people trying to relive the glory days instead of teaching young people how to be leaders. And that's
Mike. I don't know your feelings about this mayor in Baltimore, but we have the youngest mayor in America running the city of Baltimore. And if anything, what did you think of this Tuesday's election? Were you surprised?
Well, the youngest mayor in this country is in Minneapolis, Minnesota, outside of Minnesota. That young guy is the youngest. What I think about this election is changing of the guard. The young people don't see the issues that we of the baby boomer generation see. They just see politics a little different. They're not as threatened. Threatened to them is being shot by the police, not about the Martin Luther King. Most of them don't seem to know who Martin Luther King is, other than it gives them a day off. And then you wonder why in our urban centers, over 60% of our young people can't read above the 4th grade level.
Whoa, oh boy. Oh boy.
Well, gentlemen, as we wrap this powerful, exciting.
Why you rushing us, man? We got 9 minutes, man. I'm looking at this clock. You got a different clock?
We got all night if we want. Really, I don't know what
What's he running for, Mike? What is he running for? Is he scared?
My producer.
Because we haven't even talked about Joe Biden yet and why Joe Biden has to be our choice. The people in Africa think Joe Biden is weak.
He's
but
the greater.
Who you go with after Trump get locked up and got to go to jail?
And you got to.
Hey, listen. Let me show y'all something. Let me play you something. Because Doug's like, man, I invite these crazy guys on my show. Let me see if I can play you something.
This is great.
Hold on a second. Let me tell you, because the black man out here now is tired of being used by the Democratic Party.
That's true.
I agree. They tired.
I agree with that. Black people are being used by Republicans and Democrats, and we get nothing.
They tired of it.
You get what you negotiate. You got to negotiate. You got to tell them what you want. Just like the Christian song say, call them up and tell them what you want.
Doug, you see that video?
If you don't ask for nothing, you don't get nothing. You get
play that video, Johnny.
Huh?
Play that video. See, Doug didn't expect all this week. Doug got a blessing today.
What video?
We're going to save America from Joe Biden.
Think so? Okay.
We got tricked. He's weekend at Bernie's, bro. You literally read on the most racist practice in America, gun control. As the black people started buying more guns than ever, you said, we're going to send you to jail for 10 years. Fortunately, the Supreme Court was like, what? You are bugging. You speak to black people as if you literally own them. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black. What type of fucking... It's amazing. Yeah. It's the level of entitlement and audacity. Mind you, you're the same guy that crafted the criminal legislation, to send many of these black men to jail in the first place.
All right, enough with that. Both of them damn racist, okay? Both
so
of them
the point
racist.
is that there's other perspectives. There's other...
Both of them racist.
But why don't we put this in front of the people? Why don't we put this in front of the people? And let the people make a conscious decision versus saying, hey, we got to get Biden. No, we got to hold Biden. We got to hold Biden accountable for us getting him elected. And he ain't been held accountable.
Okay, so what do you want to do? The election coming up, and you're going to have to choose.
Hey, listen, I want to keep educating the people. This is what this platform is all about, educating the people. Our issues are the same, whether we in California or Maryland. No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. No, I didn't say that at all. What I'm saying is that you cannot assume because I'm not going to Donald Trump that you got my vote and you don't have to give me nothing.
You're going to have to choose one or the other. One or the other is going to win.
No, I don't. No, I don't. And that's the mistake that
we don't need Captain Bullshit in office again because we thought it was bad before.
So you with Trump too? I better get on them off here because next thing you know,
maybe if Trump decided to give us separate but equal, maybe we got some. Give us a warm state, a cold state.
You're supposed to already have separate but equal.
Put something on the table to negotiate. Negotiate something on the table.
Donnie Glover.
So what are you going to get out of Trump? What are you demanding of Trump?
I'm demanding that he go to jail.
I agree there.
Well, I agree with that.
Donnie Glover and Mike Haynie, it's been a pleasure having you on the show today.
I think we need to check out
network.
I think we need to do this more often and show our audience that we can agree to disagree, but we still stand united and together. I love you, Donnie. I love you, Mike Haynie, and keep doing an outstanding job that you're doing on the East Coast. Audience, this is the type of collaboration and cooperation that's going to help our community in America strengthen itself, in addition to understand that we can agree to disagree, but we agree that we're going to do it together. Mike Haynie, I'll see you next time on 60 Minutes and Black America. Thank you, sir. Audience, this has been a powerful show today. I love to see our people debate. And that's what we had today. It was no argument. It was a debate. To that end, we're going to wrap it up because I want my producer to not beat me in the head with her shoe. Thank you to Mr. Doni Glover for the honor of the Black Business Roundtable, being a part of your growing network dedicated to bringing the real unfiltered news before the news. #BlackUSA.news, #Doni Glover. And you met him today live on the show. Audience, we thank you and continue supporting us and continue supporting #StandWithCarlton of Raleigh, NC 2022. He was imprisoned for self-defense when threatened with bodily harm along with his patron in his business establishment. Please listen to the backstory on Carlton. The link is in the podcast description. Also, you here in Northern California for supporting Justice for Enzo the Husky in Lodi, California, and animal advocate Christy Kelly Foundation based in Southern California. Continue with the #boycott Lodi, California, #boycott Lodi wine. You have many choices of wine purchasers other than the 81 wines and winemakers in Lodi and San Joaquin. If you want to be in the know, reach our audience, join our BBRT advertising family, or to be a possible guest on the show, reach us via our email, bbrt2021. Include your company name, address, website, company phone number, and social media page info. We're also, audience help us grow by sharing our podcast and the following. Tune in every Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 7 p.m. East Coast Time on the BlackUSA.news network. And remember, together, we can listen, we can learn, and we can share, because I know you care. This is Doug Blacksher and Dr. Ashley Coleman, hopefully coming back soon on the Black